Hi. Now,
Hi,
good
Nora.
afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's just coming up to 1 o'clock on Monday, the 2nd of November. And this is our weekly meeting without a speaker today. We do have a speaker next week in Connie Ovison, the District Governor of Rotary Ireland. And she'll be talking to us about how Rotary is coping nationally, as well as how it's managing during the lockdown. Different clubs are responding in different ways. We're probably one of the luckier ones in that we've got a cohort of people who join in every week. Some clubs haven't done anything, and they're using the lockdown as an excuse to do nothing. One of the things I'm anxious to do is to, if we don't have a speaker, that at least we still meet every week. But so long as you're all in agreement with that, that you feel that it's worthwhile, I suppose that's it's a rhetorical question. I don't really want to hear people say no, it's not worthwhile. The main item for today's discussion is how we're going to manage the virtual fundraising. We had a council meeting on one day during last week, specifically to discuss this issue. And the platform that we honed in on was the I Donate platform. This is a Galway-based Irish company, and it seems to have minimal requirements in relation to anti-money laundering legislation. It still adheres to charities regulation, revenue commissioners, and all the statutory requirements of any organization that is raising funds from the public. They offered a bespoke model which cost €1,800 to join, but as Robert pointed out at our Zoom call, that means that we would have to raise €36,000 before we covered the cost in the savings. The generic model charges 4% plus the Apple Pay or Visa charge. Whereas the Christmas tree model, the bespoke model, eliminates that 4% charge. So it wasn't worthwhile, it was deemed, but there seemed to be a majority, there was a majority of people who agreed with us going with the generic. I had a look at a couple of examples. I had a look today at a couple of examples of fundraising that's done by different bodies. And one of the great advantages of the generic model is that you can put up both videos and you can put up photographs and stories. And I'm hoping that Ian Wilson will join us in a few.
I have joined.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Hi, Ian.
Hello
there. Thanks for joining in today. We're hoping that somebody from the hospice, the Carlow Kilkenny home care team, will do an interview with us that we can put up online to outline the work that is done by the Carlow Kilkenny home care team. And this would give life to it. In talking with, I rang I Donate in Galway this morning just to get some idea as to what the easiest way for people to donate is. And it would appear that you can have a QR code, that's a quick recognition code, the little digital square that people put their phone up to, and it immediately takes them to one of two pages, and we could choose whether they want them to go to get more information on what we're doing, or if they immediately want to donate. So you could have a button that will take them directly to their the donation page, and you can have another one that takes them, that immediately looks for their credit card details, or you can take them to the information page, which has an I Donate button on it. So I'd be guided by you as to how we best configure this page. It can be set up within a day, within a couple of hours if we need to, but I would be anxious to put some work into making this look good. And for that reason, we need somebody who's got an ability to work on websites. And I'd be looking for guidance there. If you knew of anybody that could take us along that route, it would ease the path for us. Who in our membership would be good to guide us on this, do you think? I hear silence. I'm presuming that that's not because you're on mute. You're all on mute.
Sorry, Ian. Our current website was put together mainly by Ed Walsh.
Right.
And he would be the best. I would have thought he'd be the best first stop. I mean, Ed may not be able to do what we want, he may not have the time, whatever, but he would know who could.
Great.
So another person might be worth talking to is Ansel Malloy, because that's sort of his area too.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do it because that's not his thing, but again, he would know somebody who could do it.
Okay, so that's
what is it we're looking to achieve, Ian? Is it a new website? Sorry, did I miss the start of the conversation?
No, not a new website.
It's not. It's to design our page on iDonate.
And is this what we're going to have a link and it'd be a pay and that type of thing? But then really, it's just a script.
Yeah, but we have the opportunity on that page to put up both videos and to put up photographs to tell the story. I would think
then that there is sufficient videos and photographs that currently exist on our Facebook page.
Yeah, but they're generic Rotary ones, are specific. I'm talking about specifically for the home care team. And this is why I was going to do an interview with Catherine from the home care team to talk about their work, and so that it might generate a bit more interest.
It's to position the collection really and the whole Christmas tree initiative for this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and then it can be reconfigured after that for other fundraising events, you know.
And is this the one that's going to cost 1,800 quid?
No, this is the generic one.
So can we not just feed this information through to iDonate and they configure the web page?
No, we master the design. They will put up a very, very generic page. But I would be anxious that we make ours stand out.
But is it not just uploading content to the iDonate page?
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's to make that content visually attractive, as opposed to us taking, you know, photo. That's why I'd like a little bit of technical assistance to make sure that it really does stand out. The one that the person from iDonate that I spoke to today directed me to was the Marymount Hospice in Cork, and that tells their story, but it still lacks. I thought it lacked a punch. You know, I would like to see us, you know. And this is why I think talking with the home care team and in particular to get their story as well as the Rotary connection story onto the in short piece of this is people are not going to read a 300 page treatise, but they will look at something short and snappy and engaging.
Yeah, there's a skill set required here, Ian. I agree with you. How do we make it look well? How do we make it have the impact we're looking for, and a call to action without it being too long? And that requires.
That's exactly it, Dermot.
That requires skill and expertise.
Can I just clarify? This page is to go to the general public. This is to try and raise the 20,000 that we've been raising each year.
Yes.
Well, it certainly needs to be a humdinger of a site because, firstly, you know, a lot of people won't log on to anything other than
Now,
But they're
Declan, before we don't expect that we're going to hit the 20,000.
Sure, but if we're looking at that kind of money, it'd be worth spending money on getting a good programmer or a programmer to do it. And I would imagine you might have to spend 500 to €1,000 maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to be necessary,
Right.
because the main thing, what we will probably spend money on is getting banners done with a QR code that people will see, rather than say, look at the Rotary Kilkenny website. People won't remember that. But if they had a code that took them directly to it, that they'd put their phone up to, then, and that would be done in large scale on a banner, and we had those around the city, then that's something that even if we got them into shop windows, if shops are allowed to open by Christmas, you know, that we put this around the city, around the county, if we can, so that it's easy for people to do it.
And along with that, Ian, presumably Roisin would have a Facebook campaign running, and so we'd be trying to hit the public through as many media as possible.
Yeah. But that still hits our own discrete group. It's not hitting Joe Blogs in Castlecomer. It's not hitting somebody who has no connection or interest in Rotary, but they may have an interest in the home care team, and that's the story we want to get out.
Essentially, about market.
Tom, sorry, could you say that again, Tom?
Yeah, sorry. I've had a play with iDonate over the last couple of years, doing various fundraisers, and essentially the iDonate page is very simple and very straightforward. And you're absolutely right. I've just looked at the Marymount, and yeah, punch, but part of it is telling the tale, and that's where you probably need two creatives. One, the content that you design, so that if you do, we'll say, an interview with home care, that you upload the interview as to what home care is about, or whatever you decide it is. And then the second part is marketing out the iDonate page, and be it that you put on Facebook, and then any other outlet in the newspaper, whatever you do. And that's the job. But the iDonate page can be very simple. It doesn't need to be anything wild, and go straight in.
Yeah, no, they make it relatively easy for you. But the important thing is to make, once people get there, that they're not driven away from it by boredom, you know, that they're drawn into it. And that's where the story will help.
But drawing people's attention to the existence of the iDonate page, I think that's the key. The second point that Tom is making. That's critical as well. The whole campaign around that. Yeah. So we'll work on that, hopefully.
Ian, sorry, yes, Declan here. I wonder, could I suggest, I mean, I'm kind of imagining the kind of people that would have stopped at our desk or whatever, you know, every winter. And I think that the local newspapers would be hard to beat. I think it would, you know, there's a lot of people there that I just could not see doing a QR code and this kind of thing. You know, it'd be a real turn off. And I think that if you had a small ad running in either the Kilkenny People or the Free Sheet or whatever, and just running maybe every week between now and Christmas, because there are people there who would wish to donate because they've done it every year for 20 years or something, and it is important for them, and we'd catch them. But I'm not sure that getting them to log on to iDonate and so on. Now, you and I and everyone that's here on this thing obviously we're familiar with it, but there you are, just a thought.
Yeah, no, but
Ian, another quick thought, an attractive pull-up banner outside Super Value Boy and all our other locations saying, sorry, we're not here this year, but you will find us on iDonate.
Yeah, that's exactly, so that will cost us.
What even in addition? Sorry,
say that again.
Declan, in addition to the newspaper ad, maybe for the people, I mean, I still write the odd check. So maybe it might be an option if somebody wanted to mail in to Rotary Kilkenny.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah. I mean, the more options we can offer, the better, without a news item appearing too cluttered. You know, if you have 20, you know, if you have we need to be able to make this look crisp, clear, and easy. And
Ian,
yeah,
just wondering, with regards to the story that you want to tell,
yes,
to drive the traffic to the I Donate page, do you have, is there a service user or a member of the service user's family that might do a very short video, like, you know, that's effectively an appeal message?
yeah. This is what I was talking with Ian about earlier. You're obviously dealing with people at a very critical and emotional time in their lives. And it may be a breach of confidentiality, a breach of an intrusion, you know. And that's, I'm just cautious about, I think this, the individual, this was a point that was raised at our meeting during the week when we discussed going with I Donate, that it's one thing for the service deliverer to tell the story. It's another thing for a service user to tell the story, and it is far more effective. But unfortunately, it's likely to be seen as an intrusion. But there may well be, Catherine in the home care team may say, listen, there's one family who'd love to talk about you know.
Or they may already have that content. You know, they may have a video that they have used themselves that we could use.
Yeah. Is there anything, Ian? Ian Wilson is joining us today from the home care team. Is there anything already there that you're using to fundraise?
No, not really. We rely on whatever is appropriate at the time, but we don't use a lot every day or every week or anything like that.
Yeah. Is the likelihood of approaching a service user an unreachable goal?
No, it's not. But I would talk to Catherine about that when you're talking to her, and say, look, we would want to talk to a service user. Who would you suggest?
Yeah.
And she might know someone then.
Great.
Yeah, or somebody that's where, I mean, the experiences in the past. It's a lot easier to talk about something if you've come through it, and you know, it's been, and they can talk about what a wonderful service you guys provide, from first-hand experience as a family member, and not somebody who's necessarily experienced it directly. Do you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Rebecca. Yes, Jason.
Just to come in there, I presume it's Catherine Quinlan you're talking about,
Yes.
Ian.
Yes.
Having spoken to Catherine a number of times over the last couple of years, she herself is a fantastic advocate for home care. And I think no better person placed to tell the story, along with you, Ian, in a 1 minute clip or something, or a 2 minute clip.
Yeah, I'll be ringing Catherine after this session today to set something up, because I'd like to have everything ready before we actually go online. But I'm also anxious to get this started as soon as possible, because we don't have to be, we're not going to be relying on volunteers manning stands. We could actually start this much earlier this year. And therefore give a longer, we concentrated our effort into 10 days last year. And I suppose if you look at it, we raised about €2,000 a day when we were on the streets. We've a lot more time now, but it's not as easy a platform. Yes, Jason.
If I could be
I'm frozen, I'm afraid.
No, you're not.
Oh, can you hear me?
All right. No, sorry, Jason. Could you say that again? I didn't hear that.
If I'll volunteer Roisin and myself here to get last year's press release and get our story on a one-pager, and that will include methods of payment, to include check, bank account, QR code, donations posted to, the full breadth of how we can actually get people to donate money. And we'll start with that page. It'll be edited a couple of times, but it'll be a good starting point.
Yep. Great. Well, we start working on that.
Jason, can I just say, with my tongue firmly in my cheek, you're very generous with my time. No, you actually got in ahead of me I was going to put my hand up and say, if you'd like me to have a look through the iDonate site, and I'm sure we can register with it and start to build a page. So it's not that we have to have everything in place before we go on to iDonate. So if you want me to have a look at that, I can register Rotary with that and at least get the page up and running. We'll see what we need to do.
Yeah, the first thing they need is an email address. Do we have
that, don't we?
There is a Rotary Gmail account, yes, absolutely, yeah. Rotary Kilkenny Gmail.
Yeah.
And who has access to that? Who edits that? Who has the password?
Treasurer.
Right. I think that we need to set that up, and I'll talk with Linda about that. I know that's the first thing that's required, unless we set up one specifically for the iDonate page. It's better to have the one person, and it's appropriate that the treasurer would have access to it. Great. So just to be clear, I'll talk to Catherine Quinlan in the home care team this afternoon, or whenever she's available, arrange to do a talk with her, or if anyone thinks, if anyone could suggest who would be the best person to do that talk with her, to do the
Ian.
Yes.
Yeah, you're very generous with other people's time.
No, I'm actually just, I know you're too humble, but your interviewing technique, which has been on display for the past 4 or 5 months, is fabulous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I might ask Ian, I might talk to Ian about the things I should be looking for, but I'm sure Catherine will direct me herself.
Well, I would also suggest that you ask Catherine if there's a family that would talk what services they had, and preferably it would be a little while older than recently.
Yes, when it's not too raw. And that they would, as I say, remember with affection and the work that the home care team did for somebody in their family.
The key, the key is, though, in all of that, the key, Ian, is to keep it brief and keep it short, and to keep the video to no longer than a minute and a minute 30 seconds.
I
would suggest that people won't listen for longer than that.
Even shorter. Now, to do a minute long video could take half an hour, you know.
Totally,
But to get that right. But I can work on that. I can edit the video. It's better to have it too long and cut it down than to try and add something afterwards. So you could, great. So I'm not sure how we're going to manage that.
Nora has a point there.
Yes, Nora.
Over the last, say, 5 years, we're doing it 14 years. Over the last years, has any Rotarian family used the service? That might be an option.
They have, but it's very personal.
I don't think you'd have any difficulty if you would speak to Catherine. I feel sure that she'd remember somebody from 5 or 10 years ago, and you'll always get somebody to speak. I mean, there isn't a confidential thing in a sense where somebody has died 5 years ago and the rawness has gone out of the situation, but it still carries a big impact. Could be conveyed.
I would agree with Declan.
Okay. Now, yes, Joe.
I was skipped out there for a minute. I may have missed something. Just so as you know, there is a short screening process that iDonate will carry out on our organisation, on Rotary Club of Kilkenny, and they say it takes no more than a week. So, but that's why it's important to get the ball rolling with them as quickly as possible.
Right. Now, when I spoke with them today, that wasn't clear. He said, you know, they've had organisations contact them in the morning and they're up and running that night.
I just, when we had the presentation at that district thing that you were at, there was a mention of a screening process of about a week, and that was in the context of an organisation raising money and through iDonate, and iDonate collecting that money and passing it on to that organisation to disperse as it wanted to, which is what we want to do. So just be cautious that there may be a screening process that isn't terribly obvious at the moment. So the sooner you start
Yeah.
The sooner we start, the better.
Good. Yeah, we'll get that process initiated as
I'll
soon.
start looking at that this evening. I'll start registering us this evening then.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave that with you then, Roisin, to
Okay.
get the ball
I'll come
rolling.
back to you with whatever information they need.
Yeah. And the key thing would be photographs. Does the home care team itself have a logo?
Yes.
They have, yes.
I have a copy of that logo.
Great. Yeah, as I think it's as important as our own logo, you know, and the fact that we are doing. I looked up Rotary on the iDonate, and Dunleary has set up theirs. They must have only just set it up because they have 0 funds in it, and their aim is, I think, to raise 5,000 euro. But it's very Spartan. It says click here for more on the story, and it doesn't take you anywhere. You know, and that's what I wanted to be able to have ours jump out. Maybe they're only in the process of setting it up at the moment, and therefore it's not quite ready yet. Okay, well, there's enough work to be done, and I'll get working on that along with Roisin, and I'll make contact with Catherine in the home care team so that we can start that process as well and run that parallel. Next week, as I say, we have a speaker from Rotary Ireland, Connie Ovison, the district governor, will be talking to us about how Rotary nationally is coping and how she herself is coping with the most unusual year. And in 2 weeks' time, we've got Tom Moore, the director of Cartoon Saloon and of Wolfwalkers, the animation that they have set in Kilkenny, which is about to be launched on Apple TV. And I think that that conversation will be one that I'd like to see as many people as possible join in for, as I would next week. I think we owe it to Connie to tune in as many as so if you're talking to people in Rotary, sending the text out, sending the email out, sending the WhatsApp message out is only one part of the way of drawing people in. Talking to people and asking them without begging, getting them to join in would be. I'd like to be able to show her that.
Why can't you beg?
Could I make a couple of suggestions very briefly?
Oh,
the first is that I think if you contacted KCLR or the other local radio station or both, I think you'd get onto a chat show fairly easily, and that would get through to a demographic that certainly won't be downloading QR codes. And the other thing I'll just comment that the Wolfwalker has had a fabulous and innovative projection of their animation onto the walls of Kilkenny Castle. I don't know if many people have seen it.
Is it still on? I thought it was on just for the month of October. Is it still on?
It theoretically it is, and I saw it on the 31st, thinking that that's probably the last night that it's on. But they did introduce an innovation on the 31st. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues, because obviously the lockdown has interfered enormously with that whole Wolfwalker thing. But I think if we have Tom coming along to talk to us in 2 weeks' time, maybe if somebody has a look to see if it's still showing at night. It's projected from the Rivercourt Hotel out one of their windows and onto the wall there where the young people, the teenagers and so on, skateboard on the walkway there. But it's very dramatic because you have the castle illuminated just up behind it, and so on and so forth. So anyway,
yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, that's a little bit of work that we can do in advance, to show that we're interested in him and what Cartoon Saloon has done, not just for animation, but for Kilkenny in this case. I mean, anytime that they get a nomination, it always says the Kilkenny-based Cartoon Saloon, even when you're reading it in the New York Times. But this one is not just the Kilkenny-based; it's also the Kilkenny featured animation. So it's good for. It can't do us any harm. That said, I'm hoping that there's no wolves around at the moment. Okay, is there anyone else that has anything they'd like to say before we finish this meeting?
Ian, just very briefly, I have contacted Niamh Mulholland again, and I have invited her to be our guest speaker on Monday, the 23rd.
Oh, great.
November. I haven't heard back from her yet, but hopefully that might go ahead.
Great. Thank you. That's great. So that's 3 weeks. Niamh will be talking about the Rotary Foundation, which is an integral part of our connection with the rest of the world, and that a foundation that we ourselves have benefited from. Okay, thank you, Dermot. Appreciate that. Anything else? Okay, right. Well, we'll see you next week. I'll be sending out the link to Monday's meeting probably by Friday. And as I say, if you can share it with people, anyone who'd like to join in, maybe potential new members for Rotary, such as people exist at the moment. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday next. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.